Have you ever heard about Operation Barbarossa? Or have you heard about the Soviet Union? My name is Rory Kim, and today I'll talk about what happened during World War I and World War II. Now let's talk about what caused World War I. In the 19th century, the German Empire wanted to expand their territory, so in Italy, Hungary, and Germany formed a group named Triple Alliance in 1882. France made a group to stop Germany, so made Triple Entente in 1907. In 1914, July 28, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, a leader in Hungary, was shot during his trip to Sarajevo. Hungary thought the Serbian Empire was behind his attack, so invaded the country, which led the World War I to begin. Germany's plan was to defeat France and defeat Russia ASAP. This is also called the Slovak Plan, but this plan eventually fails because the French army was much more stronger than the British had expected. Also, the British joined the war, and eventually Germany began to fight on both sides, the Russian and France. Japan went to the Triple Entente side, and Germany had been accidentally caught by the USSR. US was supporting weapons to the British, and the Germans accidentally shot that boat that was supporting weapons, so the US was very furious. Turkey went to the Triple Alliance side, which also attacked Russia, and Italy went to the Triple Entente side because it had promised that it would give some land of Hungary. Now let's talk about Russia's revolution. Russia was attacked by three other countries, the German, Hungary, and Turkey. Because of this, Russia was having a bad situation, had 1.5 million deaths and food shortages, which demand to retreat from the war. The US finally joins the war, and the war was over in 1918. Now, what if I told you there was a time that the British and the Germans didn't fought for a day? Well, it is true. This is called Christmas truce. In 1914, Christmas Eve, the British were firing guns while the Germans were singing. That time, the Germans were invited the British, and they all enjoyed Christmas Eve all together. This is a rare situation in a war, so we need to remember this Christmas truce. Now let's talk about why did World War II begin? The main causes of World War II is the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles is a promise that Germany made to give a lot of money to the Entente members. That made Germany furious, and Hitler was the one that started the war. People like Hitler, the Japanese Empire, and Italy caused this war, and these countries formed a group named the Axis Power. The League of Nations were too weak to stop countries from fighting each other. Now, what is League of Nations? The League of Nations is a promise to never cause a war, and if they did cause a war, they would have very much of a loss. But that didn't stop Hitler, and because of this, they formed a new group named Allied Forces, which its members were the US and the Britain and France and USSR and China. Now let's look at the continuous battles. The Battle of the British happened from July to October 1914. Because of this, Hitler started a bombing campaign to weaken British cities, demanding the British from not attacking the Nazis. Germany's strategy was called the Luftwaffe and Air Force, and the British used the RAF, also known as Royal Air Forces, and that demanded Germany's failure. Now Germany went to the USSR, also known as Soviet Union. The war between the USSR happened from June 22, 1941 to May 9, 1945. The Nazis won easily until it was between Moscow, which is an advantageous weather situation for the Soviets. Now, the Nazis were completely surrounded by three other countries. There were the Soviet Union, the US, and the Britain. And Hitler, the leader of them, committed suicide. Now, we all know an AK-47 from a song, right? That AK-47 was used by the Soviet Union at that World War II. The Japanese Empire didn't give up, so the US started a bombing campaign. It was called Big Boy and Little Man. It was put onto Hiroshima and Nagasaki 2 times. It weighed 9,000 pounds and used 235,000 of uranium. The bomb's force is almost 15 kilotons, and the blast produced a fireball that had temperature of 7,000 degrees Celsius. Because of this, Korea and other Asian countries were freed, and the World War II was over. The damage during the World War I and World War II were 85 to 105 million deaths and 70 to 75 million injuries. Thank you for listening to my presentation. The end.